turn to Proverbs 9:15. So I think this one will be shorter and interesting stuff, I think. Proverbs 9:15 says to call passengers who go right on their ways. So just to get the context, verse 13, a foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple and knoweth nothing, for she sitteth at the door of her house, on a seat in the high places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. So here we've already looked at in the last verse that this foolish woman represents Satan and his religion, and she sets up shop right where wisdom does, in the high places. And just as wisdom was calling people, well, the foolish woman is calling people too, to call passengers. A passenger is a passerby or through. So a passerby or a passer through. A traveler, usually on foot, a wayfarer. So the foolish woman, this is Satan's religion, as we've already looked at, targets men who are not in the security of their own home or church. They're traveling, they're passing through. So they're not in a safe place necessarily. She likes to catch people like that. She tries to catch them when they're on the road, so to speak. And many times when travelers travel, they travel alone. And that makes them more vulnerable to her enticement. Look in Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. You think about it, a lot of times when you're traveling alone. That's why when you get on these main highways going into cities, they'll have a high occupancy lane that if there are two or more people in the car, you can drive in that lane because most people are alone. They're by themselves, right? Well, when you're by yourself, you're more susceptible to get harmed or deceived or something like that. And this is what Solomon is teaching us here. You're a lot safer when you're with somebody else. Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12 says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if 2 lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, 2 shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So it's better to have somebody else with you. Just in life, it's good. No man is an island, as they say. And it's especially good spiritually to have other people around you, right? When you're off by yourself, I get worried about it. If I hear about any Christians that like to be off by themselves and they don't want to come to church anymore for some reason, or they don't want to get together with people in church, they just want to do their own thing. That's concerning because that person is weak. They could be easily brought down. So she calls passengers, people that are passing on through, passing by, who go right on their ways. Now, to go right on one's way is to take a direct course without erring. Right, the adverb, means of motion or position, straight, in a direct course or line. So it's not saying they're going right as in morally right or correct necessarily. They're going right on their way. They're going in a straight line or course. Okay? Now the right way is a straight way which doesn't deviate to the right or to the left. Proverbs 4, 25 through 27. Now she could also be calling people that are going on the right way, morally, religiously speaking too, of course. She does that. Proverbs 4, 25 through 27. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left, remove thy foot from evil. So physically, spiritually, to go right on your way is to go in a straight line and not deviate to the right or to the left. And that's the trick. The trick to the Christian life is staying on the straight and narrow and not deviating one way or the other, because you always err in the extremes, right? You can take anything to the extreme. You could take a person that the Bible teaches moderation in alcohol consumption, for one thing. And one person could say it is a sin to drink any alcohol at all. And guess what? He's now excluded himself from the Lord's table. That's an error. Somebody else could say, you can drink as much as you want. That's also an error, isn't it? Right? The truth is down the middle. Of course, you have premillennialism, postmillennialism, and then amillennialism down the middle. Or you have Catholicism and Protestantism and Baptist down the middle, right? So there's always two errors that Satan likes to give you, on the right or on the left, Democrats, Republicans, whatever, right? You're always given two bad choices.
Or you could be overly righteous and a little bit loose or something.
Yes, yep. You could be too strict, you could be more holy than God, making up all kinds of rules and commandments for yourself and others that God never said. Or you could be way too loose and just say, well, God saves by grace, we can just live however we want. Let us do evil that good may come. Right? So there's always those two extremes, and the truth is in the middle usually. So the foolish woman targets men who are walking on a straight course, trying to get where they're going. It's not always the most effective tactic either. I've tried that before. I did an interview one time, not the one where I got arrested, but the other one, at the lake. And when people were walking straight on their way and I was trying to ask them about questions about their belief in God, they usually didn't want to talk to you. So hopefully the devil has as much luck as I did getting people to talk to him, because people didn't want to talk about God when I tried to do it anyway, up there in that godless city. So the foolish woman seeks to distract them from their planned destination to get them to veer from it. Anything to get you off the path. Satan's happy with whatever. Whether it's some strict fundamentalist cult or whether it's a strip club, right? It doesn't matter. If he can get you off the path, one way or the other, he's happy about it. The foolish woman's like a billboard sign which catches the attention of drivers and causes them to either run off the road or, worse yet, to take the next exit to a sinful destination. Mm-hmm. You ever drive Interstate 80 past Gary, Indiana? And there are other places in the country like this too. Gary, Indiana. Oh, it is the armpit of America. I told Seth that one time, and then she's like, what's that mean, or something? And so I Googled armpit of America, and Gary, Indiana came up. I kid you not. I mean, I thought I came up with that, and I didn't. So.
I thought it was Fort Polk, Louisiana myself.
Well, everybody's got two armpits. So.
That's right. That's right.
But you drive by Gary, I mean, you can tell when you start driving down an interstate, and all the billboards are for strip clubs. You're in a bad place. And there are places. I mean, there's places in Missouri like that actually. Go in there, and I think going down to Branson, there was a place where I remembered somewhere seeing a lot of those. Maybe not, but yeah, it's generally not a good place. Yep. So that's what she's like the billboard, trying to get you to run off the road and crash, or else pull off into the strip club, one of the two. Now, Satan's false churches use all kinds of tactics to call men to veer off the way of righteousness, such as missionaries knocking on doors. The Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses do this. Such as deceptive TV ads. I don't know if the Mormon, I haven't watched TV for 17 years or something, but they used to, when I was a kid, have ads on TV. The Mormons did, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And they were really catchy, wholesome type commercials. It really, when you saw that, you're like, wow, that just seems like a really nice church, just a nice group of people. You want to be a part of that. And yeah. And they had no idea it was some devil-worshipping cult. I didn't know that when I was a kid. I just thought there was another Christian church of some kind, right? It says Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints. What's that mean? When you're a kid, I didn't know anything. Or televangelists, radio preachers, movies, YouTube videos, whatever. I mean, this is the foolish woman now, calling passengers who go right on their ways, trying to get you to veer off the road. And it's all over the internet. It's all over YouTube. For every true video there is out there, for every sermon that preaches truth on YouTube, there are thousands of them that preach heresy. Satan's really got the whole thing flooded. Now, wisdom leads men in right paths. The foolish woman calls men off of them. I'll give you 2 more verses and we'll be done. Proverbs 4 and verse 11. Wisdom says, or Solomon says, I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. The book of Proverbs, the wisdom of God, leads you on right paths. But what does the foolish woman do? In verse 16, it says to call passengers to go right on their ways. Verse 15, and what does she say? Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him. She's calling him off the right path, trying to get him to come into her church. And we'll talk about that next Bible study, Lord willing. Just a quick note at the end of the sermon. The most important thing a believer in Jesus Christ can do is to be a member of one of God's true churches. If you're not already a member of one, go to Pastor Wagner